Today, we are going to talk about long weekends. If we are to think about Holi, what destinations come to your mind?
Mathura and Vrindavan, of course, where Holi is celebrated for Lord Krishna quite a bit. And it's quite a crazy scene out there.
So there's 28, 29, 30, 31 March. For this weekend, if someone's planning, what comes to your mind?
Summer in India is going to be hot, that they say this year. So I thought it would be a great time to go to the hills. So I thought Dharamshala and Dalhousie with its spiritual, base would be a great place. The mountains are fantastic. The views are great.
So in May, where should someone travel during this long weekend?
I would suggest Hong Kong with Jeju Islands because the flight connection is great. In Hong Kong, you have the theme parks, you have Ocean Park, you have Disney, you have Nong Ping, the cable car. So there's so much to do.
Onam and Eid coming together. Not many people have an off for Onam, but if someone does have a holiday, where should they go?
And that is Hampi. And Hampi is this great mix of monuments. So if you love architecture or just love monuments, it's fabulous for photography. But if you love adventure, then Hampi also fits in really well.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Travel, Explore, Celebrate Life. Today we are going to talk about long weekends of 2025. And I'm going to pick Sunila's brain as to where we should really go. But before we really get into that, let's just do a little bit of math, right? In a year, we have 52 Saturdays, 52 Sundays, which means we have 104 holidays already. But when we were researching for this episode, Sunila was like, Neil, that's not all of the holidays that we have. We have many leaves that we get from work as well. So Sunila had an interesting anecdote that she wanted to share while we were just about to get started with this episode. So Sunila, we are talking about long weekends of 2025. And you were like, Neil, if you really plan, your long weekends and the leaves can be used to travel all through the year. And at the end of the year, you can't really give an excuse that, I just didn't have time. What were you referring to?
Neil, I was speaking to a lot of friends, like during Christmas, New Year, you meet people. I'm asking them, what are you doing? And everyone was just sitting at home and finishing their leaves. And I said, why are you sitting at home? They said, because, the leaves would lapse if I didn't use them. So I literally am like for 7-8 days, more than a week, just sitting at home and making sure that they use those leaves. And that got me thinking. Let's take Veena Word as an example, Neil. We have 15 privilege leaves. That's right, 15 PLs, 9 casual leaves. So that makes a total of 24 holidays that you can take in a year.
Yeah.
Let's just say that you want to keep half of those for medical emergencies or, just for other things that you need. You can still use about 10 leaves or even 7 or 8. And if you combine them properly with the long weekends, like say, for example, if you see like 26 January is a Sunday, that's gone. But look at the other long weekends and we look at them as we speak. And if they fall on a Thursday or a Friday, even if it's a Thursday and you take a Wednesday and Friday off 2 days, but you then get Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 5 days or 5 nights and come back to work on a Monday. So just by taking 2 leaves, you can actually take a 5-day holiday. So I was asking Rajita what she did and I realized that she actually took 25 days of total holiday on 3 trips. Turkey for 11 days, Sri Lanka for 8 days, and Uttarakhand for 6 days. But she only utilized 14 leaves for that.
Yeah,
so the others, it was smart
over.
planning.
Yeah.
Like it was just basically, and her husband, Pradeep, they are good listeners of Travel, Explore, Celebrate Life. He's in IT. So it's not like he has too many leaves. He's also, IT, we know as a company, generally IT companies give you less leave. But if you plan properly, you can take those holidays. So look at all the weekends. If that falls on a Thursday, just take Friday off and you still get Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can take 2 days and you can easily even do a long haul holiday. Like it doesn't have to be short haul. So I thought that we are still in January. If we really plan this well, then we can have regular breaks rather than in December go back again and wonder, oh my God, I have so many leaves left and nowhere to go. Everything's so expensive right now that take the leaves and just sit at home.
Yeah. I think that's like the perfect setup for the list that I have here on my iPad, where how we decided to structure this episode was that I'm going to mention the weekend.
Okay.
And I want you to tell us a destination that maybe comes to your mind and you would like to suggest to listeners? Because generally, when you think of long weekends, you think of the mainstream destinations, Goa, you think of Thailand, and some mainstream destinations. Here, we want to go off the beaten path. We want to pick your brain and you tell us what it is. So, without wasting any time, let's get into it. Now, you mentioned that Thursday, Friday, or Monday and Tuesday are the best days. But the first one I had on my list is a holiday that falls on a Wednesday. That's the 26th of Feb, which is Maha Shivratri. And okay, it's on a Wednesday, but February is a good time to start traveling. So, what comes to your mind if someone were to take some leave and club this into a long weekend?
Neil, there's an advantage even if it's on a Wednesday, because all those places which are more expensive on a weekend are actually cheaper midweek.
Yeah.
So if you're on a Wednesday and you take a Tuesday or a Thursday off and just combine it together, you can go to places which otherwise you would pay much more just to go on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I would say it's still worth it.
That's a good point.
We are in February. The weather's still great in India, wherever to go. So I want to start with India. And I think Run of Kutch is a great place to go. I've been there, absolutely loved it. Of course, if you want to go only on a full moon, then you have to look at the full moon dates and plan accordingly. But go at any time and it's stunning. And February is a great, great, great time to be here. And it's a short trip. 2 nights is good enough. So if you don't do the rest and just do Run of Kutch, you can do it in 2 to 3 days. So I would say for February, I would pick Run of Kutch.
Awesome. I guess ticked off the first state,
Yes.
which is Gujarat. I'm glad we started with that. Now let's move on to the second one. And I'm just going to, it's like a rapid fire
Sure.
that we are going to do on this episode. After February, March is Holi, right? And this time, the Holi weekend is from the 13th to the 16th of March. Now, if we are to think about Holi, back in the day when we were shooting Travel, Explore, Celebrate Life, you had mentioned that, you can celebrate Holi in some places. But what destinations come to your mind when you think of this weekend?
And I had thought of exactly the same thing, Neil, because I even had some requests from, some of our foreigner friends, our expats who live here, because they wanted to experience the real India. They want to take photographs of Holi. They want to enjoy and join in the celebrations. And that got me thinking that why don't we do it as Indians too? And I thought of 2-3 places where we can do this. So Mathura comes to mind first.
Okay.
Mathura and Vrindavan, of course, the birth, where Holi is celebrated for Lord Krishna quite a bit, and it's quite a crazy scene out there. So you should book early, and you should have a proper guide with you if you're doing Mathura or Vrindavan. One of the best places ever to enjoy Holi in is Rajasthan, but I would say for Holi, try Pushkar. So Pushkar in Rajasthan, and where they do the Holi around the lake, and it's quite stunning. So that is something, and 13th to 16th is a good enough time. So maybe you can combine Jaipur and Pushkar as well and have a really nice holiday out there. So that is something I would do. And one of my favorite places since I've started going there is Varanasi. So I would put that in as well, that you can still do it then. The weather is still good and you can enjoy a lot of things in Varanasi too. So 3 places that I would say.
I think Varanasi during Holi is one time that you should go there, and Varanasi when it's not Holi is completely different,
Very
right?
different.
So
And Varanasi during Dev Diwali, after Diwali. That is another stunning time to go.
okay, awesome. Now that's not the only long weekend in March. There is also Gudi Padwa and Eid. So there's 28, 29, 30, 31 March. That is a long weekend. Now we've already done Holi. We've already done the Run of Kutch. For this weekend, if someone's planning, what comes to your mind?
I think summer in India is going to be hot, that they say this year. And even the papers said that Jan to March is also going to be kind of warm. So I thought it would be a great time to go to the hills. And it's year ending. So you want to maybe take stock of what has happened through the year, the business year and whatever, or just reflect on life. So I thought Dharamshala and Dalhousie with its spiritual, base would be a great place. The mountains are fantastic. The views are great. You can have a great holiday and you can do it from Amritsar. So it can be a really nice, refreshing spiritual come natural beauty break, I would say. So yeah, I would put Dharamshala Dalhousie
And
for
we have
March.
mentioned Dharamshala on multiple episodes. We did the episode with Sajid where he was paragliding through the mountains of Dharamshala. There is also the cricket ground out there with the Himalayas or the ranges as the backdrop. So great.
And Neil, as Veena word, we even have a tour during that time.
Yes.
So, I think
Multiple
the product
tour
team has
departures
kept that in mind
Yeah.
and put in there. So there are lots of options during
All
that
tour
weekend.
managers
They all
just
love
have
it.
high things to speak about
Yeah.
Dalhousie and Dharamshala. Okay.
It's one place I still haven't been
No?
to. So it's on my list.
Yeah, you should. I also haven't been. It's on our list. Let's see. Okay, March done. Now let's come to April. April, there's always a long weekend, and that long weekend, even it's always there because it is Easter and Good Friday, right? And this time, that weekend is the 18th to the 20th of April that I can see here on my list. Now, we have reached April, which means depending on the school board that your child is in, you see summer holidays also starting. So, if I'm looking at this weekend, where?
Neil, I think we've spoken of India, so I would look at something international and with a direct flight. So Phuket comes to my mind because there are just so many things to do there, and it's a great. Even if you've been there, it's a great second holiday, third holiday, fourth holiday. You can still do so many things out there. Just go have a great time alone, with friends, with kids, with family, with anyone. And in fact, we have this one corporate group, and they travel only during Easter. Every year, like 400 of them. And for this year, we were pitching Phuket for them because, again, there's no dearth of hotels. There's such great inventory that you can find things for any budget. You want something economical, you want something luxury, you want to take a yacht, you want to go and have a look at the islands, you want water sports, good food, massages, everything. So Phuket kind of ticks the list for everything. And if you've been to Phuket, drive 3 hours and go to Krabi. Combine it. Phuket and Krabi together also is a great idea. Get into Phuket, go out from Krabi. That option is also good.
And I would also add that, Phuket is always misunderstood that, okay, there's one beach in Phuket. There is that Bangla Road, which has all the clubs and everything, and that's it. But if you really look at the map of Phuket, the airport is in kind of the middle. To the north of the airport is Khao Lak. To the south of the airport are multiple beaches that have the shape of a bay. So you can stay at different properties. And if you look at the west coast of Phuket or the east coast of Phuket, like you mentioned, you have different views, you have different food options, and there are 100 things that you can do. And you can also go to the car-free island, that is PP Island, which is, I think, a 2 or 2.5 hour boat ride from Phuket. So I think Phuket is
and
great.
Neil, they have a zip line called the Hanuman Word.
Yes,
which
I've
is
done
so
that. It's
cool.
amazing. It's
so
in the
cool.
forest and it's amazing. Awesome. So let's move on to the next weekend then. So moving on to the next weekend. The next weekend on the list is May. And 1st of May, literally everyone has a holiday. It's Maharashtra Day, it's Labor Day, it's multiple other reasons, right? So the weekend this time is 1st to the 4th of May, right? And this could be a short holiday, this could be a long holiday. So in May, where should someone travel during this long weekend?
I think, Neil, all of India travels in May. And if you're looking at a long haul destination, you should have planned that already, like way in advance for the visa and other things. And then you can go to Switzerland, you can go anywhere in Europe, anywhere in India, in the north, practically anywhere in the world. But make sure that if you are really doing a long haul, your tickets are done, your flights are done, your visa is in place, because it does take time for the visa to come through. So keep like one and a half month for that. But if you're still looking for a holiday and you're in May and you realize that, oh, the kids have a holiday, I want to take the family out and I want to do something that's quick, that's fun, and that'll be great for the whole family, I would suggest Hong Kong with Jeju Islands.
Okay.
Because the flight connection's great. In Hong Kong, you have the theme parks, you have Ocean Park, you have Disney, you have Nong Ping, the cable car. So there's so much to do. And then you can go from there to Jeju, and you can actually do 2 countries in one, Hong Kong and Korea, South Korea. But the best part is that Jeju Island does not require a visa.
You don't require a South Korea visa.
You don't require a South Korea visa if you're going just to Jeju. If you do it with South Korea, yes, you have to take a visa. But if you go directly to Jeju, then you don't need a visa. And Hong Kong is the permit that is needed, which is really easy. It's just online. So I think it would be a great combination if you want to do something quick, fast, easy, no visa headaches, and a great time in both the places.
Yeah, I guess Hong Kong, you can enjoy the food, you can enjoy
Yes.
treks and many other things. And Jeju, if you don't require a visa, why not? And I'm glad you mentioned this because you could not only do Hong Kong Jeju, you could probably do Singapore Jeju as well.
Easily.
And that's also many connections from Singapore to Jeju
Yeah.
also. Awesome. So we are done with May. Generally, June and July are those times of the year where you're just working, and there are no public holidays that are there. So the next on my list is August. And we are getting into the second half of the year where more holidays come in. People want to travel more because festive times and all of these things. So the 9th of August is Raksha Bandhan. And here there are 2 or 3 long weekends as such, but I wanted to start with Raksha Bandhan. Some people might say that, okay, Raksha Bandhan, I don't have an holiday, but I wanted to pick your brain. If I take the 9th of August, which is before the Independence Day weekend, where should I go?
It's going to be the monsoons,
Yes.
and there's going to be rains. If you want to avoid the rains, actually a great idea is to go to Pondicherry.
No
Because
rains
it's on the
in August?
east coast,
Okay.
and the rains in Pondicherry, if you go back to school times, we had done, the rainy seasons and the different seasons in India, and the rains here start in November.
Oh,
So the East Coast gets its rains in November. So August would be, it might be a little hot, but step out early morning. Pondicherry, like we discussed earlier, the sun rises with the beach. So enjoy the sunrise. Stay out in the morning, in the afternoon, be in the pool by or in the villa or hotel or wherever you are. Step out in the evening again. Great food. Fabulous places. The White Town is so cool, and get that French vibe. Go to Auroville. So I would put Pondicherry, and yes, you can add Mahabalipuram or something, on the way from Chennai. So that I think if you
okay.
don't want the rains,
Great
is a
start
great-
for August.
Yeah.
August is this month in 2025 where you have a chance to do 3 trips in 1 month. And I would like to give our listeners this challenge because often we try to say that, okay, I'm going to do 1 trip a month. But if you have 3 long weekends, maybe do 3 trips, right? And
why
that
not?
could be super interesting. So we start with Pondicherry, 9th of August weekend.
Anil, all of this is like you land with a flight, or if you stay in the area, it's not more than a 2-3 hour drive. So it's
Yeah.
easy to do it for the weekend, for a long weekend, 2-3 days. Quite easy.
And if you look at the departure dates that we have also set for the Veena World tours,
Yeah.
we have kept this in
Yes.
mind this year. And I'm quite excited for our guests also
Yes.
to take a lot of these holidays during the long weekend. Okay, now from the 9th of August, let's go to the next weekend, which is the 15th of August weekend. 15, 16, 17th August is the weekend. There's Independence Day, there's Janmashtami, right? So where should one go during this weekend?
So here I'm going to say something that I actually did a few years back with my friend who had come down from the US. Maha came down, and both of us, I needed a holiday with her because in the US the holidays are during this
Yeah.
period. So that's when a lot of them also come down to visit India. And I think both of us were so tired of the daily routine, and we both needed a break to rejuvenate. And we said, let's go to Dehradun and go to Rishikesh. And we stayed at the Ananda Spa. There's,
Yeah.
of course, the Vana Spa and so many other Veda Spa. There's so many spas in and around that area. And I remember, Neil, I was landing into Dehradun, and, we looked out, and the Rajaji National Park was so lush green. It's one of the greenest landings in that sense, like when you're landing and you see this whole thick cover of green when you're landing. And the drive was just an hour or so pleasant and beautiful. And then we did hiking. There was a little bit of rain, but it didn't really bother us too much. And then amazing therapies, spa treatments, walks, hikes, all of that.
Everything.
We went to the Beatles ashram, Ganga Aarti. So it was a beautiful 3 days. And I would say at least 3 nights. If you want to do a spa treatment, then definitely for a wellness package, don't do anything less than 3. It's too stressful to go in and just come out quickly. 3-4 days is something you should look at. So use one of your leaves and,
Yeah, direct flight to Dehradun, go to
Yeah.
Rishikesh
Yeah.
and do everything. Mountains, river, eat to your heart's
If you
content.
have some more time, Masuri and other places are something you can add on.
A lot more. Okay, so that's our second holiday that we have done in August only.
Yes.
Now let's come to the third weekend in
one.
August, which is the Ganesh Chaturthi weekend. Now everyone tends to like to be where they live during Ganesh Chaturthi, but some people look at the Ganesh Chaturthi weekend as also an opportunity to do a holiday. So now Ganesh Chaturthi this time is Wednesday, Thursday, 27, 28. And I will probably utilize some of the leaves that I have and I'll take the Monday and Tuesday off or the Friday off and I turn that into a weekend. During this time, where?
Neil, kids also have holidays during this time.
Yes.
If you've seen since the last few years, schools have started giving holidays for children. So again, it's a great time to go on a family holiday, I think. And even with Ganesh Chaturthi, if you see, the first day is the busiest because a lot of people usually have Ganpati at home for the first 1.5 day. So you're probably doing all your visits. And I remember last year you were so busy on the first day, right? You were just going from home to home and visiting friends, and it's fun. So do it on the first day and leave that night.
Yeah.
So you can still utilize all the holidays.
Yeah.
And because you're going with children, I would say go and stay in Sentosa Island. You know, don't go to Singapore City. Just go straight to Sentosa. Just go and stay in one of the beautiful hotels out there. There's so many hotels there. And so many new attractions are going to open in Sentosa by the time this comes in. And of course, adults, children, everyone can have fun out there. So there's zip lining, there is so many other things. Minion Land is going to open. Actually, I'm quite excited about it.
Yeah.
I love Minions. So, you know, it might be a great point to go there during that time. The Harry Potter experience would be open. So these are two new things that have come in. If you haven't been to Sentosa or Singapore in the last few years, the sensory experience has opened. Sentopia is there where you can actually make a perfume. The ice cream museum, I mean, I could go on and on. You know, you can do an indoor skydive kind of a thing. The luge, well, with Resorts World and Sentosa together, there's so much that you can experience Universal Studios. So I think it's a great time to be out with children, families, and utilize the holidays that you get and go in straight there. If you do have 2 more days, another thing you can add on one more country and go to Bintan Islands, Indonesia. It's just a ferry ride. So you can actually land into Singapore, go straight by ferry into Bintan, spend 2 days on the beaches there and come back and be in Singapore.
Awesome. And because you mentioned Singapore, I'd just like to insert the fact that we have done a separate podcast called the Singapore Local, where me and our friend Renji sat down and we've done multiple episodes on Singapore.
Like a comprehensive guide to Singapore.
It's 30 episodes just about Singapore. And tune in on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever. The podcast is called Singapore Local. Check it out because we had super fun doing it. Okay, after that, there is a quick long weekend, I would say 5th, 6th, 7th September, Onam and Eid coming together. Not many people have an off for Onam, but if someone does have a holiday, where should they go?
For September, again, I will go back to something I have done in September, and that is Hampi. It was so stunning. In fact, it was a family holiday and we missed you on that holiday. And just like you, there's so many people who keep planning to go to Hampi but have never been. It was a good time to be there. It wasn't too crowded. The weather was good. And of course, again, like, you know, everywhere else in India, go out early morning, see the sights and come back, rest in the hotel and go out in the evenings again. And Hampi is this great mix of monuments. So if you love architecture or just love monuments, it's fabulous for photography. But if you love adventure, then Hampi also fits in really well. Because with the river and the fabulous boulders that are millions of years, you can do bouldering, hiking, so many other things. So Hampi fits perfectly for everyone.
Awesome. I guess for September, Hampi it is then. Now let's come to the last 3 months of the year. And I have 3 long weekends left. One super long weekend is from the 1st to the 5th of October. There's Mahanavami, there's Gandhi Jayanti, there's Dasera, and in Kolkata there is also Durga Puja during this time, right? So this weekend, where should someone go?
I think you just mentioned where I would love to go, and I have been here before, and that is Kolkata for Durga Puja.
You keep saying this. I've never been,
You
but I
must
think,
go.
yeah, like,
You must go. And you have to plan it really
but
well.
do I need the entire weekend?
You should keep at least 3 days for Durga Puja, because the first day and there's so much good food in Kolkata, right? So you want some time to enjoy the food as well. So the city is pretty big and the pandals are all over. So you want to really divide your time and take your time, because you don't want to rush this. It is really beautiful. There are some you should see in the day, there are some you must see illuminated at night. And it's a very beautiful, pleasant experience. So I would say 2 to 3 days is something that you must keep it. If you do have a friend who has Durga Puja at home, it's one of the best experiences to experience it close. But what I also did was a walk with the locals, and you can get into people's homes. Like homestays, you can get in to see how it is done in the homes and the Havelis, and it's really stunning. You can combine it with Sundarbans, you can combine it with Shantiniketan, a visit there. So you could extend it and make it a longer holiday as well.
Okay, awesome. Now let's come to Diwali. And Diwali this time is 18th to 20th of October. It's coming early, but another trip in October, what comes to your mind?
Again, Neil, here, if you're going with your children, then everyone has at least 2 weeks off in Diwali. So you can do a really long trip. October for me always means autumn. And whether short or long, I mean, you can do both. I would say if you're going for autumn colors, South Korea or Japan are something that are my eternal favorites, always. And I was always suggest doing that, because I've been there in South Korea for the autumn colors, and I think one entire day I went with friends, and we spent the whole day just taking photos on Nami Island. We couldn't have enough. All we did was relax, and we realized that we could relax as well. So we took our time there. We didn't rush it. We had some great food, and an entire day was spent out there just taking photos, just enjoying it, you know. I mean, after the photos also, you just want to be, I remember just lying on the grass and looking at the trees and saying, wow, we can actually do this, you know. You don't have to rush all the time. So I would say that would be great. If you're short of time, you could just go even to Tokyo and come back. You can go to Seoul and come back if you don't want to do the whole trip. But if you do have the time, you can even combine the two countries.
Yeah.
So Korea with Japan also becomes stunning. So that is one place I would recommend.
I guess people like going to South Korea or Japan to see the cherry blossoms. But what you see during the cherry blossoms is very different to what you see during the autumn colors. I would say you have to go both times, because it's pink and it's orange hues during autumn and pink during the cherry blossoms. So put both of those on your bucket list, as I would say. Now let's come to the last weekend that I have on my list, and
There's nothing in November.
there's nothing
There's
in
no
November,
holiday in
and I'm
November.
sure you
So
can,
you'll want all those long weekends in October and
Exactly.
December, right?
So last one, Christmas, right? This time, if you are not looking at the Christmas school holidays or college holidays, you have a long weekend, which is the 25th, 26th, 27th of December. Often people complain that this is when everyone is traveling. I don't want to travel.
And most people would extend it till the new year.
Yeah.
I think the entire world is on holiday. Everyone's enjoying. It's family time, it's friends time, it's the time for celebration everywhere. So yes, you're right. Most places are crowded, but there's a way to beat around that too. And I've done this on one of the New Years. Again, depending on how much time you have, there are so many options. And what I'm talking about is going on a cruise. The advantage of being on a cruise, and I was in the Caribbean on one of the New Year's cruises, is that there's only limited people. So there cannot be more crowd on the cruise, on the New Year. There's no rush for the food. There's nothing. Because usually what happens during this time is either you pay a supplement for the Christmas or the New Year dinners, or wherever you go, you have to book way in advance. There are just too many people and you feel rushed.
Yeah.
If you want to avoid that, stay on a cruise. You could be on a cruise in Southeast Asia. You could be on a cruise in the Caribbean. You can go anywhere you want. Disney cruises would be on by then in Singapore.
Yes.
But of course, you have to book early for that. But there are so many other cruises as well. So you have, Genting and Resorts World. You have Royal Caribbean. So many other cruises. So pick any cruise. So limited people, but unlimited fun, right?
Yeah.
So
I guess that's a great way to end it. And it's a great point or tip that, a cruise will always have the set number of people.
Yeah.
It's not like more 500 people are going to come if it's New Year's
No check-in,
Eve.
check-out. You check in once and then you're just
Everything's
there.
taken care
Again,
of.
if you're single, you don't feel lonely. If you're alone, or you're traveling with family, you don't have to worry about what do I do now, because there's activities for all levels again.
Yeah.
So from learning surfing on a cruise to just simple drawing or playing for young kids, there's just so much fun.
Awesome. So I guess we have covered the entire list, but I know how passionate you are when you're convincing people to take leaves and
Yes.
complete these New Year resolutions that you may set or whatever it may be. So how would you like to end this long weekend episode?
Neil, I think we mentioned a lot of long weekends, and I think the reason we don't take them is we don't plan and we don't stick to it. So, do the first thing is plan that holiday, book the flight tickets. Once you have the flight tickets in hand, you're sure you're going. I'll give you an example. I went in January to Lucknow, and this holiday was planned 6 months in advance. The first thing we did was book the flight tickets.
Yeah, once that is
Everything
booked,
else came later. Even till the last day, we were still planning the rest. But that's fine. Once the flight is booked, you are sure you're going. So, book that. If you're going to be driving somewhere, then book the hotel and then you know that you will be going for sure. You can always cancel it later if some emergency comes through. But if you don't plan in advance, that's not going to happen. And I would say, take at least one holiday per quarter. Take that short break per quarter, because otherwise, you will be in December with your kitty of leaves wondering, how do I spend this?
Yeah, awesome. So let's end on that note. Thank you everyone for listening to this episode of Travel, Explore, Celebrate Life. If you like this episode or have any feedback, write to us. My email is neil, neil@venaworld.com, and Sunila's is sunila@venaworld.com. Thank you so much for your support, and we will see you next week with another fun episode. Until then, keep celebrating life. Bye.
Bye.